The main objective of this study is to identify the reason people become anti-vaxxer and how to overcome it. In this study, we also include the history of the anti-vaxxer movement from the past. This study also contains factors pertaining on why a part of society choose to be anti-vaccine and its effect on the existence of this society. From this study, we also come to notice the main reason these people become anti-vaxxer because misconception that is caused by misinformation and they are doubtful towards the vaccine that is produced. As a consequence, according to the statistics we obtained, the percent in the worldwide participation in vaccination went down. And in addition, we also include our solution in preventing the society to go against the vaccine. The objective of these writings are to summarize the history of the anti-vaccine movement. Second, to determine the reason why a part of the society choose to be anti-vaccine. Third, to measure the effect of the existence of anti-vaccine within a society. And lastly, to analyze the best solution to overcome this anti-vaccine in our society. In this 20th century, vaccination is one of great medical accomplishment because they have made a major contribution in reducing the occurrence of disease that previously common in population and thereby decrease mortality around the world. According to Cambridge Dictionary, anti means oppose or against someone's or something. According to Center for Disease Control and Prevention, vaccine is an amount of drug that is approved by the authority to be used on humans to trigger the immune system in order to create antibodies to a certain illness. From this definition, we conclude that anti-vaccine are people that oppose or against application of vaccine on their self for a certain reason. This group of people are called anti-vaxxer. Anti-vaxxer claim that they have lack of trust in the vaccine information that is presented by the professional and official sources. Furthermore, most of anti-vaxxer likely to get information from the social media compared to the health professional or verified website. Due to this event, the anti-vaxxer are likely to have a misconception about vaccine. This false and incomplete information on the internet has led the people to reject vaccine, resulting the decreasing in vaccination rate around the world.
Greetings everyone, my name is Muhammad Nafar Hazim and my metric number is F013454, and now I will tell about history of anti-vaccine movement in the world. We have been hearing a lot about anti-vaxxers in the news lately, but they have been around since the beginning of vaccines. Vaccines date back to the research of Edward Jenner, a doctor who is working in rural Britain in the 1700s. He noticed that on the farm the milkmaids didn't get smallpox in the way everyone else around him seemed to. So one by one, he started scraping pus from sick cows into the skin of his family members, and miraculously, they didn't get sick. His discovery led to the smallpox vaccine and later the world's first and only disease eradication.
This child has what we call active immunity. He has acquired this active immunity by actually having the disease. Fortunately, there's a safer way to get immunity. This is through vaccination.
Edward Jenner basically ostracized from his community. People thought it was disgusting that he would inject his family with pathogen from mystic animals. Fast forward to today and the same kind of concerns continue.
We do not need that many vaccines.
People overly generalize about them as if they're only great.
Doctors have to ask brand new parents to give otherwise a healthy baby's dozen of needles based on the promise that they will avoid some future abstract disease. One discredited paper made many parents think that there was a link between measles, mumps, rubella vaccine and autism.
The parents understand it, they get it, because they've lived it.
The message from the BMJ could not be clearer or more shocking. Wakefield research, they contend, has been a fraud.
And we have other anti-vaxxers today who are not only worried about autism, there are the deniers like rampant.
We sometimes give 5 and 6 vaccines all at one time. I chose to have mine delayed.
There are deniers of all stripes, to the Orthodox Jews in Brooklyn, through the parents of children with medical conditions who have to opt out. There are even unvaccinated kids visiting Disneyland. The majority of last year's massive uptick in measles cases actually involved the Amish of Ohio. More than 350 people there were infected by one man who had traveled to the Philippines. These outbreaks of vaccine-preventable disease in the US typically happen just like that. An unimmunized person travels to a place where one of these diseases is circulating and then returns to a community with other similarly unimmunized people, and boom, we don't remember what measles or polio or hepatitis B looks like and felt like.
These vaccines work so well that the memory of these diseases has faded.
Viruses and bacteria don't know any borders, and all it takes is a single traveler to spark an outbreak, even in the happiest place on earth. So, that's all from me.
Millions of people are still very hesitant about getting one of the COVID-19 vaccines, and that could be bad for them and others. Vaccine hesitancy is nothing new. Vaccines have been met with suspicion and hostility for as long as they have existed. Vaccine acceptance and hesitation are influenced by belief in vaccination, its safety, reliance in the vaccine delivery system, health concerns, fear of adverse effects, and the lack of a healthcare professional's advice. Besides that, vaccine acceptance and reluctance are also influenced by belief about the benefits and efficacy of vaccination, suspicion of the reasons behind them, the impact of family, particularly parents' attitudes, and conversation with friends about vaccination decisions. Why aren't people getting vaccinated? Vaccination decisions are often linked to a lack of knowledge about who, where, and when one should be vaccinated, as well as self-assessed vaccination details or satisfaction. One of the most known opponents of vaccination is fear of needles and pain following vaccine injection. Spread of myths and misunderstandings on social media despite efforts to prevent inaccurate information from spreading. Consider the rumor that the vaccine could have an effect on fertility. Furthermore, many people believe that the vaccine is causing life-threatening reactions that the media is failing to cover. The anti-vaccine movement is working hard to spread myths about COVID-19 vaccines, including making false statements about vaccine death. We must be aware of its activities and prepared to respond. For example, in March 2020, anti-vaccine activists falsely claimed that flu vaccination raised the risk of COVID-19. Besides that, anti-vaccine activists were adamant from the start that COVID-19 vaccinations would not function and would be harmful. So it is vital to raise awareness of the existence and dissemination of such claims, as well as to advise everyone to use caution when considering vaccine-related claims.
Good day, I bid to one and all. My name is Monica Salesiana Sawan, and I will be giving a brief explanation on the topic that my group have made a report on, which is the repercussions of the Anti-Vaccine Society in relation to the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, surpassing the creation of anti-dot in Malaysia. In the hope that we can stop the circulation of the pandemic, we are facing another complication, which is the people that are against the vaccines. These people are referred to as anti-vaxxers, and apparently they are having vaccine hesitancy. There are many reasons on why a part of the society chooses to become anti-vaxxers, and one of them is because of the fear that they had after being preached by the people out there that spread fake news. Most of the rumors circulate around how the vaccines can cause adverse health effects and how mortal vaccines are. This has been existing since the 19th century, where people are prejudiced towards the idea of receiving vaccines. However, what are the complications that could occur when people are opposed to the idea of getting vaccines? The problems that might trigger is the health issues in the society might escalate regardless of the age of the society itself, but the most affected age of group would be babies and elderly. Not to leave out the fact that the effort made by the experts would all be flushed into the drain, and also how it will create chaos to the health officers as they have to figure out the cause of the virus triggered by the anti-vaxxers' stubbornness. To put a full stop to this, the anti-vaxxers should be assured by the experts on the safety of the vaccines and the effectiveness to it. The government plays a crucial role here in promoting the vaccination program clearly and with consistency. Campaigns should be held regularly too, and social media should be used as a platform to spread the benefits and not the hoax regarding vaccines. In conclusion, it is indeed hard to put an end to the movement that has been existing for so long. However, we should at least gather around during this time of pandemic to protect the society together by accepting the antidote that can possibly cure the virus. Keeping in consideration of the people that are in need of the vaccines, the society should be careful when spreading the news on any platform, as people are sensitive towards information concerning health. Moreover, this group of anti-vaxxers are not experts and does not work in the medical field. Thank you.
There are some solutions to prevent society to go against the vaccine. First and foremost, the government must communicate clearly and consistently with the public in order to create public confidence in vaccination programs. They must explain how vaccine function and produce, from recruitment to regulatory approval, based on safety and efficacy. People would be less easily influenced by inaccurate information if the information is provided to the public transparently and consistently. The way that government can expose it by conducting campaigns. Since people nowadays are more open to them, the COVID-19 vaccination program should be rigorously administered to the public via social media. Next, the efforts of social media to reduce the spread of misinformation. We are faced with an overabundance of virus-related information as the planet responds to the COVID-19 pandemic. Any of this information may be inaccurate and damaging. They were only able to come up with these tactics because social media companies allow anti-vaxxers to use their sites to attract new followers and spread their lies further than ever before. So, everyone may play a role in helping the spread. If you come across content on the internet that you think is false or misleading, you should report it to the social media site that published it. So, this will help in reducing the misinformation about COVID-19 vaccines. Lastly, each of us must take a firm stance and not be easily manipulated by others, especially anti-vaxxers. We must avoid the temptation to engage with anti-vaxxer propaganda on social media, no matter how tempting it might to be, to point out obvious vulnerabilities and falsehood. The solutions are very important to help the community from being anti-vaccine.
To summarize, the anti-COVID-19 vaccine movement has the potential to harm community health, extend the COVID-19 pandemic, and unwittingly raise the burden of mental health concern. To avoid this, a methodical strategy is required, as well as novel solution and global public health program. Instead of trampling down the glimpse of hope from becoming a reality, we should not give up and prepare for the worst. This time of pandemic, we have to stick together and fight the virus, as people out there can be gullible and trust the false news that they got from other people out of fear. However, there is no denial that there are many factors that may lead to the reason why people choose not to get vaccinated. As a result, it is critical that all stakeholders in the medical field, such as physicians, researchers, educators, and government, to work together to limit the impact of anti-vaccination campaigns aimed at people. Furthermore, we must vigorously battle the false demonization of vaccine on social media and in the mainstream media.